Hi Greg, I have your week 4 hand up on the screen, and let's just go through this and look at things. Overall, it's a good gesture, good pose, and I think you have most of the main proportions correct. Some things that need probably another look are the length of this distal phalanx here on the fourth finger. It looks like it's just been stretched too much. I think probably overall the finger is probably, I'm just looking at the length from here to here, and that should equal the total length from here to here. I think maybe this just needs to be redistributed, probably shortened a bit and then redistributed down because this is way too long. And then looking at the other fingers, that looks good, and this looks pretty good as well. As far as the forms go, I think that you should kind of look carefully at what's happening here with the dorsal interosseous, because you have a kind of this mass coming almost all the way back to the extensor tendon, which you've indicated here. But really, remember that we have this this metacarpal going all the way in here, and this actually originates at the side of the metacarpal. Right, so there's a pretty distinct plane change between kind of the back of the hand and how this muscle starts to come off the side. Right, so just have a second look at that, and it goes down to obviously the first metacarpal, and just sits right in this V. Right, so this metacarpal come down, and there's generally, if this thing is stretched, as yours kind of is, a little bit of a plane change in here, a little bit of a depression that you could look for, just to liven up this area, right? And then again, find and really look carefully for the roll off between the this metacarpal here, and then side plane, and then mass of the first dorsal interosseous. Okay. Also look at your extensor tendons for the thumb. This first one, the extensor longus, comes back over this way towards the ulna, and the other one comes towards the radius, which you have, and then you know you have it right because there'll be the little anatomical snuff box in there, which you don't quite have. Again, it depends on whether these tendons are popping in your particular pose, and they may not be. So bear that in mind. I don't have your hand in front of me. I'm just speaking constructionally. Okay, the only other thing that really bothers me with this is the modeling on this big crisscross of forms in here. I'm not exactly sure what's happening, but it doesn't strike me as believable the way that these lines all interact. I can't see your hand in front of me, obviously, but I just feel like it looks like somebody, like Zorro, came in and just kind of slashed these wrinkles in with his sword, and didn't really set up any of the actual transitions between them. Right, so it might take a little bit more modeling, and where does this skin go? Right, so you know when I'm thinking about wrinkles, I kind of think about wrinkles the same way that I think about sculpting cloth. You know, like it's the exact same thing. It's just, you know, like it's conservation of surface area, right? So this big mass that you have coming in here, it dives into this point, but then where does it come from there, and why? How does it disappear, right? So you have to motivate that by some plane, some changes in plane around it, right? So I would just say to look closely at kind of the neighboring convexities of these things. Right, so wrinkles have their own kind of, at a micro scale, when you get in close, wrinkles have their own kind of form and their own contours, right? They really kind of bulge up and dive in. And literally, I'm just freestyling this right now because I don't have any wrinkles in front of me to look at. But you really have to kind of, you can't just have cuts going through your mesh. You have to have cuts motivated by skin bundling up and then a break, in the same way that fabric bundles up and then it breaks and changes planes. Right, so have another look at that and just see if that makes sense in the context of what you're trying to achieve in here. Right, because I suspect that this might be a little bit shallower in here, and there might be some other things going on. Okay, last thing, and I don't know how true it is. It might just be your hand. I feel like there's a little bit of a strange form here, like a really broad convexity coming all the way into the palm, when I would really expect kind of a little bit, in this particular pose, a little bit of an abbreviation of these volumes, right? Because most of this stuff is passing under the carpal tunnel, right, which is set up between these two carpal bones here, right? So most of this is passing under this ligament, except for the palmaris longus, which goes over it. Just looks like that little mass was a little bit too big going over the top. But again, anything can happen on your hand, so just have a look and confirm or deny that. Last thing, I feel like maybe well, hard to say. I was just looking at the modeling of the metacarpals going down here. They're generally fairly well packed together with interosseous muscles and then also kind of tendons hopping back and forth and ligaments. So don't overmodel the bones coming down the back of the hand, because they generally become fairly planar, and you're just talking about shifts in plane rather than individual lumps and bumps. Okay. I think that's all I have to say on this one. Again, it's a strong pose and a good gesture. I think it just takes a little bit more refinement to hit all the planes exactly. And certainly hands are one of the hard next to the face. Like I said, I mean, next to the face in expressivity and also difficulty in execution. So really. Just you have to spend ages on them to get them to be perfect, but yours is a good start. Okay, thanks, Greg.